Good morning. Are you in the process of creating online learning, either for yourself, for your own company, or as an instructional designer for your organization? And wondering, what you should think about for criteria when you're hiring a graphic designer to do the graphics for your e-learning or your online course. Well, stop before you go to the step of hiring a professional graphic designer to do the visuals for your online course. I really want you to think about and know that a lot of the graphic design and the visuals are things that you could be doing yourself, that you can create in-house using the simple tools that many of us already have access to. So as an instructional designer, I know that there can be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of someone who is developing e-learning. In some companies and some big organizations, you do one very small piece of the process. So your responsibility might be only doing graphic design, only creating illustrations, or maybe you are the person who works with the subject matter experts to get the content and just kind of pull the information and bring all the information together. And then there could be another person who does the instructional design from an educational perspective, mapping out the course curriculum. And then there could be another person who does the design work, such as the graphic design. Then there could be another person who does the technical development and production of the e-learning module. Or someone else who does the, deploying it on the learning management system, another person who does the evaluation of the program. So in some places, that's a reality. There could be a number of different people doing all of the roles and working together as a team. But in my experience, the reality is that often you need to be a unicorn, and you have to be able to wear all of those different hats. You need to be able to do everything from being a good people person and working with the subject matter experts, to having graphic design skills, to having that solid instructional design, and being able to do the technical development and evaluation of the program. So in my experience, most organizations want someone who can do the end-to-end and the unicorn, right? The person who can do everything. Now, when I'm teaching our instructional designers in creating courses that inspire or other online development programs that we offer, something that I always tell people is that design actually does matter. It often falls to the bottom of the list for someone who is new to online course development because it's not usually the background that people have when they decide to create e-learning or when they become e-learning developers. Even if you are a business owner and you're creating an online program to sell to your clients, not many people have the experience of being a professional graphic designer yet. So often the go-to is, okay, we need to hire a graphic designer in that situation. But through my years of experience and teaching other people how to do it, I can tell you that there are so many things that you can be doing to create your own graphics that to make it look like a professional has done it, okay? So my number one go-to, the simplest tool of all that pretty much everyone has access to, is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is an extremely robust graphic design tool. You can do pretty much everything from creating graphics from scratch to making kind of transforming images, to even using their tools like their smart art to create your own graphics. And something that has become very popular is written graphics. Okay, so for example, a company name, instead of having a logo with all kinds of funky images, that your company name is actually, it's just words. It's just made up of words, but it uses just incredibly beautiful typography. So a great example, and we'll put the link to the blog article in the description, but we have on our blog this week, I actually tell the story of how I came up with the name Learn to Flourish for my company, and how before I had decided to work with a professional graphic designer and branding company, that I actually created my very first logo for Learn to Flourish in PowerPoint and I saved it as an image. And so this is something you can do either with typography or even with a variety of images and pulling them in. You can absolutely very easily create professional grade graphics on your own using PowerPoint. And so in the article, we have a microlearning tutorial to show you step by step how to do that. So definitely have a look at the full article. The next tool that we love to use to create absolutely beautiful graphics is called Adobe Spark. Okay, so Adobe Spark is part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite of products, and it's essentially, it has three components to it. It has the social graphics side, which they call it social graphic because social media obviously has become so popular. So a lot of people use it, like we do, to create our images that we're posting in Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. And it allows you to use your branding. So it's really nice. You can access the photography from right directly in there to find the perfect image. So it's really easy to use. Adobe Spark also allows you to create web pages and template style videos. So it's a really cool product. Another common one that so many people use is Canva. So essentially the same thing. It offers the same capability, just depends, are you an Adobe person or do you want to try out Canva? I would recommend both. They're both fantastic. But the cool thing is that it's not just for social graphics, right? You can actually resize your graphics that you're creating to, say, fit a PowerPoint page or to be printable poster size. So there's many, many different ways you can do it. So those are my tips today. Just because you are creating online courses, if you're an e-learning developer, you don't necessarily need to rely on a graphic designer. But graphic design is so important to your courses. Courses that look beautiful are much better received. Okay, so you really want to think about your graphic design when you're creating an online course and what can you do to make it better. Simple tools like using PowerPoint as your graphic design tool, you can absolutely do it. Use other professional tools like Adobe Spark and Canva. And so not everyone knows good design, right? So this is what I say to my students. If you don't have the eye for design, then Copycat. Look at examples of beautiful graphic design. So grab magazines, look through the magazine layouts. What are they doing? All of those layouts can be mimicked in a tool like PowerPoint or Canva. Same thing with websites. If you see a website that just takes your breath away and you can tell immediately, okay, I'm not a graphic designer, but when I look at this, I know that this looks good. It has all the elements of good graphic design. Copycat it, look at it, think about, okay, the layout, the colors that they've used, the positioning of everything. That can be recreated in an e-learning module using, again, the simple tools like PowerPoint as a graphic design tool or Adobe Spark or Canva. So these are all things that you can be doing. Now, ultimately, if you have a bigger budget, then I also highly recommend that you do work with professional graphic designers when you have the opportunity because they're educated, they have the eye, they really, really know what they're doing. But in the situation where many of us e-learning developers are, where we have to be the unicorn and we have to do all the things on the e-learning project, from the scoping to working with the subject matter experts to the instructional design, the graphic design, the technical creation. If you need to wear the unicorn hat, then these are great options to do your own graphic design. So you've got it. Check out the article. As I mentioned, there's this step-by-step tutorial on how to use PowerPoint to create your own graphics, and enjoy. I'm Lorena Klingel, the founder of Learn to Flourish, and I will see you again next week. Thanks.